Hello, thank you for your interest in Insurio. I will be doing a quick overview of the system to give you an idea of some of the features that Insurio has to offer. This won't be too in depth, it's just an overview. If you'd like to schedule with somebody to do a more personalized webinar that is available, please reach out to help@insurio.com, help, HELP, at insureio.com to get something like that scheduled. For this, I will be showing you the dashboard and some of the functionality that we have there, as well as my account, some first steps you should take to get your account started, and we'll go through some of the menu items on the left sidebar to give you an idea of some features and capability we have with Insurio. If you have any questions, feel free to use the questions box. That will send an email to our team so that they can reply within 24 business hours to any questions that you may have. All right, so let's get started. When you first log into Insurio, you will start at your dashboard. We have menu options on the left sidebar here. This menu can be expanded by clicking the three lines at the top. This will expand the menu items so that you can see the options here versus the icons. When you click on a menu option, it'll bring a drop down if there are other menus available within that option. Be sure to click on the option that you'd like to see to open up that option. When this menu is collapsed, just hover over the icon and it'll bring up those same drop downs so that you can then click on the option that you'd like. We have some filter options available in this top right section. First one being that you can view the case counts either as a case number count or as a dollar amount. It's really just up to your preference. Brand is where you can filter your view by which brand you'd like to display. I'll go into what a brand is shortly during the video so that you know what the difference is. You can also filter by status and due date. I usually like to keep mine on this all option. That way I can see my entire case count and view, but again, it's up to your preference. We also have where you can view past due cases, anything that's due today, and anything due in the next 7 days. Once you have your case counts loaded, they're all broken down by sales stages. So each of these top menu options is a sales stage. Typically, you'd start with some sort of marketing. Then it moves to an opportunity if the client is interested in moving forward. Some of these options also have subcategories based on the statuses. So these are status driven. Each case, you can set a specific status based on where the client is in the sales process. Opportunity, we have prospect, new lead, and attempting contact. Contacted, we have not quoted and quoted, and so on and so forth throughout the different sales stage options. Feel free to peruse through those. If you have any questions on statuses or the sales stages, definitely send an email to our team and we'd be happy to answer any of those questions for you. I'll also show you where you can view statuses and the options that we have. In order to view a case, there's a couple different ways that you can bring it up. You can either search for the contact in this quick search. In this box, you can search by name, or the alphanumeric ID that's assigned to each consumer. Another way is by going to the advanced consumer search. That will allow you to search by name, phone number, or email address, and also that alphanumeric ID. And the final way is by using your dashboard, finding what sales stage they're in, and opening the case. So I'm going to open up this case. Typically, you would just click on the blue hyperlink. It'll open the case, and you can view the details. Each of these sections are editable by clicking the pencil icon. That will open up the modal window where you can go in and edit specific details for the client. Just be sure to click the blue check mark to save the information once you have it entered. We have a blue actions button in each consumer file. This is kind of a quick menu option where you can add a task, run a quote, or create a new app ticket. We also have a consumer notes section in the top right here. In order to add a note, click on the edit button. It says add note. It'll expand this menu so that you can enter your note, hit create, and it'll create that note. We also have some options here. Critical will make it so that anytime somebody opens the case, that note will come up as an alert, and whoever opens the case will have to acknowledge that they read the note. Confidential notes are only viewable to you, and personal notes are visible to you and other team members. So if you have a team working in Insurio, they'll be able to see those notes as well. Tasks are listed under the task section. You can either create the tasks by going to the actions button and adding a task, or you can set the status, which is generally how we would prefer you create tasks. If you click anywhere on this line, it'll open up the policy details, and this is where you can update the status. This status, once updated, will generate a set of new tasks that you can preview and view anytime you open the case. If we refresh this, it's going to show us that an email is being ready to be sent. You can preview that email by clicking on this icon, and it'll open it up in a new window so that you can see what that email looks like. We also have a hot lead task assigned on this particular status. You can see that this is assigned to the agent, in this case me. And then we also have another email pending for tomorrow. If you click on the task, it'll open up the details of what this task is going to do. So it's an email to the consumer. It's due by February 16th at 10:42 a.m. And this is the email message that it's building. You can also preview that message before it's sent to make sure it's up to your standards. All of our automated emails are compliant with CAN spam laws, so you don't need to worry about that. If you would prefer that an email not be sent or a task not generate for an agent, you can open up the task and suspend it. This will clear the task from your dashboard. If it's an email, it'll stop the email from sending. Don't click done. That shows that you completed the task. or that you want it to be completed in an email case. So it will automatically generate that email and send it when you click done. If you don't want it to go out, you'll want to hit suspend. Be careful when doing this. If you suspend a task, the only task that's assigned to the agent on the case by accident or on purpose, it will remove it from their dashboard. So it may remove it from their view of following up on it. So again, I just caution you, be careful with suspending tasks if you still want the case to be followed up on. Again, the best way to follow up and keep those tasks so that the agent will continue to follow up on the case is by updating the status. So you can move it from contact attempted hot. If you want to close out the case, we do have several statuses available for closing it out. Do not contact, withdrawn, no phone number, so on and so forth. In order to run a quote on a client that is already in the system, there's a couple ways to do this. If you want to use the data that's already listed under the policy details, you can use this requote button. That will open up the quote path, which I will be showing you in a minute as well. It enters the details that are already listed in the case so that you can enter what's missing and run your quote. Another way to run a quote in the consumer file when it's already created is go into that blue actions button that we showed you earlier, run quote, and then there's also an option for new app ticket. So if you already have a quote from somewhere else and you just want to get the information into Insurio so that you can track it, this new app ticket option is probably the best for you. That brings up the application ticket so that you can finish filling in the missing details and either save or submit for processing. This brings me to running a new quote. So if you have a client that isn't in Insurio yet and you want to run a quote on them, that's where we would go to this new quote option. We have a term and universal life quoter and a final expense quoter. These two are carrier specific options that we have built within COVA. If you're interested in learning more about those, let me know or reach out to your brokerage director. For this example, I'm going to open up this term universal life quoter. It will bring up this option. Application process means you will run the quote, you'll do the health screening, and then if you have a relationship with Penny Insurance, they're the ones who will do the application processing, case management, policy delivery, so on and so forth. So this is the option that you'd want to choose. We also give the option through Penny of a referral process. So that means that you have a client, maybe you're a P&C agent, and you don't spend a whole lot of time on life policies, and you just want to refer your client over to somebody to run the quotes and do all the work, but you could still receive part of that commission. So that's this referral process is what that is for. So you can use this option. You'd still receive 50% of your normal commission, and you wouldn't have to do any of the work on it. So again, these are both run through Penny Insurance. Now, you don't have to have a relationship with Penny to use the quote path. You would just choose this use application process, and then I'll show you how to skip Penny. All right, so we're going to create a quote here as an example so that you can see how these quotes display. and it's going to try to link me to an existing file. I'm going to skip that for now because we want to start from scratch. So enter all the client details so that you can get your quote. We're going to go for best class based on the information that we entered. And we're looking for a $500,000 20-year term policy with a monthly premium mode. Once you have that information filled in, you can go to the discovery page. This kind of gives you a good script to follow. Say you're a new agent or you're looking for a better script. This tells you what kind of questions to answer to get an idea of why the client is applying for insurance, what their insurance need is, so that you can better evaluate how much coverage they need and what product would be best for them. We also have an underwriting page. Now, I will tell you up front, the Insurio screening tool can only immediately evaluate one major medical condition. If you have a client that has more than one, I would recommend using your outside underwriter if you have one. If you're working with Penny, they do have an in-house underwriter, Mike Woods, who can help you with that. I'm going to skip both of these pages for now, but just so that you can see what they look like. There's just several questions about their lifestyle so that you can better evaluate and give them a good rate, an accurate rate. So we're going to go ahead and view quotes. It'll display the quotes available based on the information that we entered. If you want to email these quotes, for one, you'll need to make sure your email is configured with Insurio, which I will go over during this call as well. But you check the ones that you want to email. Their email address will automatically port over from that first page when you entered it. And then you just hit email quotes and that'll send them an email. If you just want to save these so that you can reference them later, again, just check the ones that you want to save and hit save quotes with consumer record. On this example, we're just going to go ahead and move forward with this Transamerica option. We want to hit apply. It'll fill in the details on the application page so that you can move forward and finish filling in the rest of the information. So I'll take some time here to just fill in some fake information so that you can see what this looks like. Now, all of these fields that say required are required if you're going to be submitting it to Penny Insurance's application team. So just a heads up on that. If you're just entering this for your own purposes, you don't have to fill in all the required fields because you would just save it and it's not going to require those fields. All right, general purpose of insurance. You can enter their occupation and employer, annual income and net worth. It does give you the option to collect payment information if the client would like to bind coverage. You can also enter any existing policies that they have. And then, of course, we have our beneficiary and owner section. So you can add as many beneficiaries as you'd like. Just open up that beneficiary section, check that they're a beneficiary, how much of the percentage they are going to get, what's their relationship, and then so on and so forth. You can also attach an illustration if you'd like. And then what's your relation to the insured? All right. So that's a complete application ticket if you're going to be sending it over to Penny's application team. We do also have a notes section up in the top right here if you want to add any notes. This is similar to when you mark a note critical. It will enter the note in the system, and anytime somebody opens this file, they'll have to acknowledge that they read that note to be able to access the file. So if you are using this Insurio as a CRM and you're going to take this information and submit it through your own carrier, you would choose the option to save consumer in case. That will save the information so that you can go in and update the status from there. In this example, I'm going to use next submit for processing. It'll save it and then submit it to the application team. It gives you a checklist of what to expect next for the client and tells you what our next steps are going to be if you're submitting it to the application team. If you want to open the file, there is an option here. Just click here to view and edit their information, and you'll see that it's now in a submit to app team status, and we have our complete application task, which is assigned to the application team, so you definitely don't want to mess with that. If you suspend this by accident, the application team will not be notified that they received a new case. So be careful again with these tasks. You can view the emails that were sent. So this was an email sent to the client letting them know the next steps. You'll receive an email as the agent letting you know that the application team received your case and will be moving forward with contacting the client. And then it sets a follow-up for you so that it stays on your dashboard so that you can follow up as the case progresses. You how to submit or save a case. I'm going to quickly go through some of the other features and capabilities that Insurio has. So I'm going to open up this side menu here so you can see these options. Contacts management, this is where you can manage your contacts. Pretty self-explanatory. You can search a client by name, phone, email, or that ID that I mentioned earlier, this alphanumeric ID. You can also sort by what their name starts with, or just flip through all of the clients that you have. I'm going to skip over user search. That's for the more advanced subscription plans that we have. If you're interested in learning more, like I said, email help@insurio.com and we can get you started and maybe set up a one-on-one webinar where we can go through those more advanced options. Brand search, I am going to explain in a moment what brands are, but this will allow you to search for your brands. And then we also have the ability to import consumers via CSV. So if you have a list of clients that you want to get uploaded to Insurio, this is how you do it. There's a couple of sample CSVs that you can use as a starting template. And then it has a link here to our academy where it'll take you step by step on how to fill in your headers and get it uploaded to Insurio. Definitely feel free to bookmark this academy.insurio.com. Our academy will pretty much show you anything that you need to know how to do in Insurio. It's a really great resource, especially when you're first getting started, or even once you start getting more advanced in Insurio and want to learn how to do some of the more advanced functions. All right, moving on. I'm actually going to jump down here to my account and show you some of the items that you'll need to get set up when you first get started. So you'll want to fill in as much of this information as you're comfortable with. This is the default for where marketing emails will pull information if your brand is not filled out. So you'll want to fill in the email address, especially phone number that you want clients to contact you on, so on and so forth. If you ever need to update your password, you can also do that in this My Account section. If you need to obtain an API key, this is used for lead import in a lot of cases. You can obtain that here in My Account. All right, so finally, I get to explain what brands are. So brands are how Insurio sets up your automated emails and really anything else that has to do with marketing in Insurio. So I have a few brands, sample brands here listed. I'll just show you this first one. I'll show you this second one. So this one is called Sample Brand 2. We can modify this by clicking on the drop down Modify, and this will show you the settings for this brand. So looks like we're missing a phone number here. We definitely want to fill that in with something. You can also attach a logo and a marketing header image. This marketing header image is what is entered on your emails when they go out. So it'll be at the header of the email. Pretty self-explanatory from there. Again, this is how Insurio brands your emails essentially and any other part of Insurio that has consumer facing product. Submission options. If you want to disable either of those menu items that we saw in the quote path, you can. This is where you would do that. Licensing and contracting, pretty self-explanatory, gives you a place to enter your licenses and your contracts. You can also enter AML information, compensation level, and then these licenses, in order to stay compliant with laws about marketing emails, once you enter the licenses, it will automatically be entered on those marketing emails so that you are up to compliance on those. Contracts are more for informational purposes. It just gives you a good place to store contract numbers, when it expires, when it's effective, so that you can keep track of that. Permissions, this is just informational. You can't make any changes to this. It just shows you what permissions you have enabled based on your plan. Email configuration. This is one of the more important setup things that you'll need to get done. So if you need help with this, we will be glad to help you out with it. Just email help@insurio.com. But we also do have an Academy post related to this, academy.insurio.com, and email configuration. So this will take you through step by step on how to get your email configured based on your email provider. So if you use Gmail, it takes you through what to enter and how to fill out that modal window. Again, if you have any trouble, just reach out to us. We do it all the time and we can help you get it set up. And finally, payment info. This is where you can update your plan, you can update your payment method, or if this was a paid account, it would also have an unsubscribe option if you ever decide to unsubscribe. So again, important items that you need to take care of when first getting started with Insurio are your email configuration, setting up your licenses or license, and then setting up your brand. If you only have one, that's totally normal. You might have more if you're working with different lead vendors or different lead companies, however you want to get it set up. Basically, It allows you to run reports later on how each of them is doing. So if you want to track how a certain lead vendor is doing, then you can run a report on sample brand 2 to see how those cases have progressed. So just a little more explanation on that. All right, so I'm going to move back up to agency management and policy status rules. This will show you all of the statuses that we have available based on your plan. If you want to create a new status, it's super easy. Just hit New Status Rule, enter the sales stage and category that you want it to go under, name the status, and then save. Once you have that saved, find your status so that you can add tasks to it. So we put it under quoted. We have app quoted here. We want to hit this gear wheel option so that we can add tasks. Edit task rules. This will bring up the tasks, and then you can add new tasks based on however you want this status to work. So lots of options here. Again, we do have an Academy post related specifically to creating statuses and how to add the tasks and everything. I'm going to remove that. All right, marketing. Definitely a big hot ticket item with Insurio. We have hundreds of marketing templates available for use. You can send these individually to clients, or you can start them on a campaign if you are subscribed to the marketing plan. While I'm thinking about it, you can view our plans by going to insurio.com/pricing. This will show you the plans that we have available and all the features that we have per plan. So if you haven't signed up yet, definitely feel free to check out our plans. All right, back to this. You can send it to yourself to see what it would look like to a consumer. You can do a custom distribution. This is available with the basic plan where you send it up to 100 clients. Or you can do a blast distribution, which again, this is available with the marketing plan. You would run a report to gather your client list, and then you can send that email to that list. We also have marketing campaigns available with the marketing plan. This is basically where you can run a schedule of emails to your list. So similar to the marketing templates, this one only allows the bulk enroll option where you'd run a report, choose the list that you want to send to, you would gather the contacts, and then you can start that marketing campaign. If you want to preview any of the emails, just click on the link. It'll show you what the email looks like. Both marketing templates and campaigns can be created from scratch. You can use the templates that are already created in a new campaign, or you can create your own templates and use those in your campaign. They're all very customizable. Again, check out our academy if you have any questions on these. We have all sorts of articles, video instructions on how to get those set up. Quoting widgets. So if you have a website that you'd like to embed a quoting widget on, we do offer a term life quoter. You just go to quoting widgets, new widget, and you can build your own customizable widget. I'll just show you one that I have already. So we have our HTML embed code here where you can, this is what you use to embed it on your website. And then you can view a test page to see what the widget looks like. It's a simple quoting widget. Once the client enters their information, phone number, name, email, it'll send that information to your Insurio dashboard as a lead. So It's great for lead generation if you want to start generating your own leads and using your website to build your business. Links, if you are on the marketing plan, we do have this insurance division link. Basically, this is a pre-built website that you can use. It already has widgets embedded on it. Once you hit compare quotes, it would come up with the widget. Get your free quote, same thing, so that they can go in and run quotes. And again, those leads would be sent to your Insurio dashboard. So it's just a real simple website. It already has all the content that you would need about any type of insurance. This isn't super customizable beyond the logos and your image, but it's a really good plug and play, especially if you're just getting started and want something that makes you look reputable to a client. This Insurio link URL is basically a full application quoter. The client really doesn't want to spend a lot of time on the phone and just wants to give you the information that they need via a link. This is what you'd want to use. Now, this version, to be honest, can be a little overwhelming for a client. It does go through the discovery and underwriting pages that I showed you earlier. If you want a more simplified version, which I highly recommend sending to the client, change this last word from application to ticket in all capitals. It's very important that it's all caps. And normally it won't work for this because this is a test site that I have set up, but you would see basic info, compare, and then application. So they wouldn't have these discovery and underwriting options. It would just be basically a simple ticket that they'd fill out. And once they submit that, it would send it to your Insurio dashboard so that you can review it and send it to the carrier from there. Tags are used for marketing capabilities. You can add tags on clients so that you can report on them. Maybe you want to run a marketing campaign specific to a diabetic client. You would need to add a tag to each of the consumers who has diabetes. So this is something that you definitely want to take a look at before you upload a list or as you're going, so that you don't have to go back and add the tags later. You would need to add them upon entry of the client. We also have some custom shortcodes. This is a more advanced feature. We do have an article in our academy that goes through what this is. Basically, it gives you the ability to add custom links to our email templates using these shortcodes. So it's really great for if you have like a Calendly that you want to use to set appointments with clients or anything like that. Resource library, we have our quoting and product tools. This is really great for if you want to look up information about certain products. Definitely feel free to peruse through each of these and check them out. Underwriting resources, same thing. Feel free to peruse through them. There's a lot of good information here for underwriting. I'm going to skip over Marketplace. It's not something that we're really utilizing at the moment, but check back soon. We should have something in there. Reports. We do have an Academy post that goes through reports, but I do want to show you that we have capability to run reports on whatever information you're looking for. The report is built based on how you want to filter your results, and then you can choose the output as well. So what fields do you want to show on the report? There's a lot of selection here, so definitely feel free to check it out if that's something that you're going to be interested in. And finally, our help section. Let me close some of these so that they're not in the way. So we do have an FAQ section. These have some contact information or answers to frequently asked questions. We have our live help phone number here, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific time, and then our mailing address here listed as well. We have some tutorials. These all just link to the Academy. So if you're wanting to learn more about marketing and how to run a marketing campaign, it'll link right to that article that you would need in the Academy. Get support, pretty similar to our tutorials. These all just link to the Academy. And suggestions. Now, I'm being honest when I say Insurio would not be here where we're at without your feedback. We take all feedback seriously. When you send a suggestion, we put it into, somewhat of a virtual suggestion box and review those suggestions quarterly to see if they would make sense as a whole for our system. There are several features in Insurio that were suggested by our users. So don't be shy. If there's something in Insurio that you feel like would be beneficial, let us know. You can use this suggestion box or even just send an email to help@insurio.com and we'll take it from there. Again, we really love feedback, good or bad. No matter what, it helps. All right, so that's pretty much everything that, as an overview, I can show. Again, for the last time, if you're interested in a one-on-one, definitely feel free to email us. You can use that question box in the webinar, or you can send an email to help@insurio.com, HELP@INSUREIO.com. I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you so much for your time and interest in Insurio.